Hello honeys, I've collected all 44 exclusive Futuring Girl Coords featured in the mobile game Aikatsu Photo on stage, and I put them all together for you. Enjoy! 44 Neon Galaxy. This is probably a controversial last place, but Neon Galaxy is way too busy for my taste. I think the silhouette and structure are both really interesting, but the transparent layers make those aspects hard to read. The graphic shapes made by the silver trim get lost in the patterns and colors they're layered over. It's a bit disappointing. 43 Lucky Rabbit. I'm also not a huge fan of Lucky Rabbit and its bell-shaped vest jacket. There's a lot of focus put on the neckline that makes it all feel scrunched up at the top. And then on the bottom we have a pretty flat design for the clock pattern socks and ribbon boots. I do like the way the Alice in Wonderland concept has been translated into a futuristic aesthetic though. 42 Cool Mint Chocolate. Cool Mint Chocolate is only this low because it has very little to do with the Futuring Girl brand. Although it isn't my favorite color palette, the blocking is balanced well and there aren't many quirks to nitpick. I wouldn't blame you for finding it cute. 41 Cosmic Alice. In comparison, Cosmic Alice has a much more contentious design, but it leans harder into the futuristic look. There's no avoiding how noisy those stockings are and how flatly rendered the overall illustration is. But the silvery blue color palette makes up for that in theming, as do the graphic shapes within each piece. 40 Justice Blue. Law enforcement is an unfortunate motif within the Futuring Girl brand, and Justice Blue's uniform sparkly texture doesn't make it much better. Still, it's on theme, and these pieces are somewhat creative in silhouette, so I haven't been too harsh on it. 39 Royal Techno. Royal Techno is part of the Royal Coord set, which spans almost every original series brand. I tend to like them, but I can see how much the designers struggled to fit Futuring Girl's more experimental style into it. They managed to keep it looking pretty cohesive, but for this ranking I would rather see a stronger commitment to the futuristic theme. 38 Techno White Color. Techno White Color ups the theming with a similar color palette, but that corset lacing in the top is reading more pirate than astronaut to me. The fluid draping of the sash and flower embellishments also give the design a more organic feeling. Those natural shapes clash with the graphic mosaic print and sharp geometric elements in the other pieces. 37 Blue Whale Summer. We're still not getting into heavy theming with Blue Whale Summer, but at least it's cute and almost there. Athletic motifs fit both swimwear and the Y2K inspiration of Futuring Girl, so I don't mind all the stripes and sweatbands here. It's doing a decent job of combining nautical references with the brand's signature cool color palette. 36 Blue Star Police. Blue Star Police isn't terrible. It's not a theme I particularly enjoy, but the balance between traditional and experimental aesthetics is somewhat successful. I definitely prefer the bottom half of the outfit with its bold asymmetry over the familiar corporate feeling of the shirt and tie. Adding a corset pattern over the top of it is interesting at least. 35 Pastel Snow. Pastel Snow is relatively safe. I'd say the futuristic theme has been fully committed to here, and I do enjoy the more colorful interpretation. There are still details that look off balance to me, like the way the horizontal bands on the skirt interrupt the vertical visual flow, but it's not that distracting. 34 Futuring Police. Futuring Police is also on theme for better or for worse, and if I squint, the balance looks good. Clean silhouette, graphic shapes, and some interesting asymmetry. But on closer inspection, I question why the patterns are so varied throughout each piece. They could have gotten a more cohesive look if they kept the boots in particular more aligned with the Stardust patterns of the dress. 33 Girly Space. For its simplicity, I'd say that this is a very good ranking for Girly Space. Yes, it's a casual outfit and not nearly as experimental as I've been demanding, but it feels on theme in a more realistic way. You still have the blue and silver palette, the diamond shapes in the sleeves, and graphic lines in the socks. It feels like an outfit a Futuring Girl fan would wear in real life, which I find endearing. 32 Justice Shiny Pink. Unfortunately, I think something went wrong with Justice Shiny Pink. This color palette just isn't fitting in with the rest of the brand for me. If it had a white base color with pink accents, I'd probably like it more. But it's coming off as too warm and organic in shape to me. It's still a super cute design, I'm just looking for a sleeker aesthetic. 31 Justice Yellow Green. Sleeker like Justice Yellow Green. These are not my favorite colors and the silhouette is a little boring, but it's on a much better track to me. I like how action-oriented the shorts feel combined with the bodysuit look of the green sleeves and white tights. I'd much rather see this more fantastical take on a space ranger than the law enforcement concept. 30. Saint Cool Knight. If you've seen my Christmas coord ranking, Saint Cool Knight will look familiar to you. It got a very low placement for not being festive enough, but I think here it fits a lot better. The holiday theming is fairly minimal, and Futuring Girl's persistent snowflake motif blends right in. The visual flow is a little weird though, with the diagonal rainbow stripes directly clashing with the horizontal lines in each piece. 29. Light Blue Mage. On the Halloween side of the holiday spectrum, we have Light Blue Mage. I find the witch concept to be very strange since the possibilities of a space-themed Halloween costume are virtually endless, but if it had to be a witch, I think this is fine. The blue and orange pull together both the holiday and the brand, and they look great together. I'll even forgive how fluffy the pieces are since they do maintain a lot of sharp graphic shapes. 28. New Year's Niche. New Year's Niche is our first kimono coord on the list, and overall I like the balance between traditional and experimental elements. The silhouette is mostly traditional with an added asymmetrical peplum. The star patterns toe the line between the two styles, while the triangular ones lean a lot more futuristic. Very cohesive, very dynamic, very beautiful. 27. Cosmo Teacher. Cosmo Teacher isn't quite as beautiful to me, but it is getting deeper into thematic territory, which I appreciate. The asymmetrical detached sleeves are cool, and the gradients match up in each piece, but the dark stockings are a sticking point for me. They look good in the cropped illustration, but drag the visual weight down the full body version. Longer boots that match the vest would have been a good solution. 26. Cool Valentine's Day. I'll be the first to admit that Cool Valentine's Day is the boring kind of monochromatic, but I like that all the patterns and shapes are blurred together in this case. The chocolate heart accents stand out a lot because of that, and I don't find them horribly distracting. The lack of contrast helps me focus on the shinier textures, which helps the theming. 25. UFO Girl. UFO Girl is heading into space-age cheesiness, but it maintains some contemporary dignity. The giant gemstone windows on the skirt are a big focal point that are just barely balanced by how heavy the navy accents surrounding them feel. I like the off-shoulder poncho look of the top and the split star shape on the boots the most. 24. Cosmic Crystal. Look how cool Cosmic Crystal is. It's another kimono, but the fabric is so much more interesting here. The shiny, scale-like texture fits in perfectly with the sharp floral patterns and silver accents in this dress. And although they're not the most futuristic, I really enjoy the chunky shapes in the shoes. It's really pretty. 23. Cosmic Android. Cosmic Android isn't as cool or pretty in my opinion, but its silly kitschy take on a robot dress is endearing. The dominant metallic texture is over the top, but balanced well against the more detailed sparkly navy gradients. And in my opinion, the rainbow ruffle sash and simple star shapes are there to emphasize the more playful tone of the dress, which is totally fine for the brand. 22. Cool Star Girl. I do prefer the more mature designs though, as seen in Cool Star Girl. Fishnet stockings are definitely bold. I'm fairly impressed by how well the tri-star dress elements have been incorporated here, especially the graphic shapes in the top. The simplicity of those shapes help leave room for the intricate details in the skirt, and I'm pleased with the use of black for strategic focal points. 21. Justice Purple. Justice Purple carries on the Space Ranger concept from earlier, and although I clearly like it more, it's still a little lacking in silhouette. The micro mini skirt is a cute addition, but it's not enough. It could be even more dynamic. 20. Justice Shiny Purple. At the very least, Justice Shiny Purple gives us more draping. It's not quite the right direction, the silver could be changed out for white in some areas for a cleaner look, but it's an elegant enough design. The mini cape is fun too. 19. Sky Present. Let's ignore the fact that Sky Present looks more suited for Christmas than Valentine's Day and focus on the things that are cute about it. It's not the most heavily themed coord, but the motifs of the brand are there. Silver trim, white and blue palette, and the traditional plaid print has been abstracted into a more fitting diamond print. I also can't help but enjoy the red ribbons when they've been arranged into such an intentional visual hierarchy. 18. Star Blue Yukata. Star Blue Yukata may be another confusing choice for this high up in the ranking, but I have my reasons. I really enjoy its simplicity, and I think it's found smart ways to incorporate the brand motifs into the yukata elements. The little silver cap sleeves, triangular shapes below the obi, and subtle nautical striping in the skirt all tie the two concepts together well. I like how elegant those solutions are. 17. Justice Shiny Blue. But if you really want to get back to the high concept side of things, Justice Shiny Blue is here for you. We're finally getting some dynamic pieces in that Space Ranger style, mostly coming from the mini cape. The ruffled peplum at the waist helps break up the structured elements, and the color blocking looks balanced to me. 16. Future Happiness. Future Happiness continues to expand on the possibilities of the traditional versus experimental contrast, with its main strength being the dramatic shapes of the sleeves and obi. Those pieces are large and intricate, which is contrasted well by the graphic black and white underskirt and solid printed stockings. The purple and green in the obi do seem a bit random, but it's easy to overlook. 15. Deep Sea Shell. I have been torn on whether or not I like Deep Sea Shell. It's very dramatic, and I do like the aquatic motifs despite them being an odd fit for the brand. The high-low skirt is styled like an abstracted fishtail, which is interesting, and there are a couple of tiny coral and seashell pieces that didn't make it into the bodice or the skirt. The tight pleating in the skirt is also a strangely delicate yet sharp-looking texture. I still can't make up my mind on it. 14. Cosmo Night. Cosmo Night is about as perfect as a UFO-themed dress can be, in my opinion. It's found a really cute way to balance the space-age motifs with the fluffy, ruffly idol silhouette. The main highlight is how good the mint green accents look against the silvers and blues. It's the perfect shade. I rarely see a coord that elevates a brand's original concept this thoughtfully. 13. Crystal Blue. That said, there's still more experimentation to be done. The lines in Crystal Blue's silhouette are extremely satisfying because they follow the form of the body so purposefully. I love how creative the structure of the top is, as well as the seamless transition from the tights to the skirt. It's a beautiful exercise with spiky, flowy diamond motifs, and it's great to see a simple idea like that pushed so far. 12. Justice Lavender. But we are finally back to our Space Ranger concept with Justice Lavender. The main highlight of this version is the ruffles on the boots. There's a little bit of movement in the flowy shorts fabric, but it's echoed really well by those boots. They create a unique silhouette without weighing down the overall design, leaving the focal point around the face. 11. Justice Pastel Blue. Justice Pastel Blue is only here to prove that I am biased at the end of the day. It's blue, pink, and white, and it's an adorable translation of puff sleeves and a princess skirt into a structured, space-age aesthetic. It has ruffles on the boots too. What more could I possibly want? 10. New Year Future. New Year Future is our highest ranked yukata design, and most of its points come from its high contrast blue and orange color palette. It has a ton of visual impact, balanced by more subdued patterns and textures. I really enjoy the starry inner sleeve fabric and careful use of silver accents. Everything feels super intentional here. 9. Mascara Glass. Mascara Glass is a great answer to my complaints against crystal textures in Aikatsu. In a 2D render like this, I can read the triangular tiling as a printed pattern, the blue and cyan skirt layer as iridescent PVC, and the dark sparkly fabric as rhinestones or sequins. And in this simplified form, they all balance each other well. The three-dimensional crystal details are lovely too, and the analogous palette helps tie everything together. 8. Siegfried Zwei. I find Siegfried Zwei to be fascinating. It's a swan-like inspired prince costume, and you can only appreciate the wing-shaped skirt and feathery leg warmers in the full body version. I'd usually have a bigger issue with the mix of silver and gold, but both are integrated into the overall color palette well. The cutout shapes and structured style of the top do most of the work in maintaining the brand's theming. 7. Justice Wing. Justice Wing gets a slightly higher place because it's a slightly sleeker design. I like the decision to turn a long military-style jacket into a cape complete with sparkly inner lining. The structure of the top and skirt are kept fairly simple, which lets the wing-like trailing pieces in the skirt stand out. Those lines are supported by the cut of the skirt and boots, which all look great. 6. Neo Glitter Christmas. I remember ranking Neo Glitter Christmas fairly low in the Christmas ranking, but clearly I like it better in the brand context. The silver stockings are too dramatic to ignore, and the ballerina-inspired silhouette stands out in this list. There's just enough detail to provide visual interest without being overwhelming, and the Futuring Girl motifs pair surprisingly well with the more traditional Christmas theme. 5. Electro Skater. Electro Skater is a perfect transitional style between 90s nostalgia and Y2K futurism. The roller skates are a super unique element that I don't think I've seen in Aikatsu before, and the sleek asymmetrical cutout dress pairs great with a long flowy cape. What a fun and cohesive design. I can't find anything to nitpick about it. 4. Splash Aquarius. I've been hard on both Crystal Aquarius, the pre-evolved form of Splash Aquarius, and evolved premium dresses in general, but this one improves on a lot of my criticism. There's still that ambiguous crystal texture in both pieces, but there are more matte gradient sections to balance them now. It's a beautiful color palette too, and the silhouette feels dynamic thanks to the skirt and trailing sash. 3. Shinshi Shenlan. Shinshi Shenlan is the furthest we see the Futuring Girl brand pushed, and while I'm getting a strong Journey to the West style fantasy vibe here, I'm not sure how well I'd say it fits the futuristic concept. Still, it's one of the most elaborate designs on the list and extremely well balanced with a lot of novel details. For how gorgeous it is, I've allowed it into the top 3. 2. Xinchuan China. Xinchuan China sticks with the Chinese fantasy theme, and for what it lacks in relative detail, it makes up for it in a better commitment to the brand's motifs. The color palette, diamond motif, structured bodice, and shiny materials are all elements we've learned to expect. But I find the low-waisted ruffle skirt to be an interesting focal point. I like the novelty of the fan and trailing ribbons too. It feels very fresh. 1. Snow Lapis Lazuli. There is no beating Snow Lapis Lazuli though. Despite the winter aesthetic, it still manages to look like it's fit for galactic royalty. It's really nice that the sparkles covering the deep blue gradients can double as either snow or stars. And the visual rhythm of that skirt is to die for. So many layers arranged perfectly in a genuinely complex silhouette. The crystal details have been used extremely effectively too. All around, this is a top tier design. Let me know your favorite Futuring Girl Photokatsu coords in the comments below, and look out for my Aoi deep dive next month. Bye bye!
Good morning, kitty honey!